Correct Misfire. Correct Misfire.
Hi guys, welcome to Battle Report number 2. We've got some more Empire of Dust versus the Salamanders, both in beta at the moment. We're going to play a 2,000 point game and we'll run through the list before we go any further. So, Spoonie, myself, I'm running the Empire of Dust. I have a horde of Enslaved Guardians with the Casket of the Damned, Enslaved Guardian Archers. That's a horde with the Brew of Keen Eyeness, which gives them +1 to hit for their ranged attacks. A horde of Revenant Chariots with Casket of the Damned, and they have Wine of the Elven Kind, giving them the Nimble special rule. I had the Pharaoh on a chariot with the Onyx Ring, which gives him +1 to his regen roll, and High Priest on a horse. He's got Surge and Heal, and he's got the... I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but he's got the item that makes the opposition deploy D3+1 units before I do. I also have the Idol, a Bone Dragon, a troop of mummies with the Brew of Courage, and one giant scorpion.
Okay, hello, Bensome here. Salamanders, 2,000 points. What I took was I took 2 troops of Gekota Hunters. Didn't give them stealthy, didn't think they needed it. A regiment of Ceremonial Guard, a horde of the Ancients on Rhinosaurs, and a horde of Tyrants, and I've given them the +1 to hit in melee combat. Just a regiment of Gekota, that's a weird name to say, Gekota Sky Raiders, Komodon artillery piece, Lakelidon monster, and then the Ankylodon battle platform. One of those. Clanlord on Fire Drake, I've given him the fly upgrade and the amulet, which gives you the extra ranged or spell once per game. Mage Priest with Bane Chant and a Herald runner naked. Alright, so that's both the army lists.
Before we get into it, we did kind of screw up. We only managed to do 5 turns instead of 6 when we were writing our game notes. We got a bit ahead of ourselves, and apparently we skipped turn 2.
Oh well. Or skip turn 6, whatever.
Whichever way, yeah. Right.
Did you have just before we start with the actual turns, did you have a battle plan going into this? Because we rolled up, what scenario did we get?
It was Domination.
Okay, Domination.
Not really, because I hadn't really built my army list around a scenario.
Yeah, I still haven't gone through all the scenarios, so I'm not sure what's there.
Well, as soon as I saw you were taking Salamanders, I knew those big Rhinodons had to go, so I lined up all my nasty stuff over on that side and just hoped I could take them off the board. I wasn't sure about the Clan Lord on the Drake, because I haven't come across him yet, but the others, I think I've played against.
You would have played against everything. Yeah, I've played with the Tyrants most games.
Yeah, not really. The Enslaved Guardian Archers were meant to shoot the big units off the board. I don't really think I had a plan, or at least cover that objective, so
yeah,
I could move up to it. I really deployed quite poorly when I look at it after the game.
In hindsight.
Yeah. Oh, it was terrible. But things you learn. What about you?
Ceremonial Guard. Because they got phalanx, I like to try and make sure your chariots run into them. That was their only objective, just run into the middle and hold it. Everything else is just to smash stuff. The geckos I wanted to get in the way or screen for your archers because they had to go. They were my number 1 threat.
Yeah.
As we'll see when we go through the game, that was my number one target.
Yeah.
But you got a small army, so I just hold the middle and try and smash in the side.
Yeah.
That was it.
Now I've forgotten what I was going to say. I had something important to say. I did proxy quite a few units in this game because I don't have the models yet. Sorry, when I say quite a few, only 2 really.
Well, that's half your army, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm running quite an elite type Empire of Dust list. So there's only like 20 odd figures in the army. The Bone Dragon is represented by half a High Elf Dragon, and the Enslaved Guardian Archers are proxied by Slaneshi Fiends.
Alright. Shall we get into it?
Run through deployment. Do you want to run through deployment? Or?
Well, I had to deploy 4 extra units because of your fancy magic item.
Yes, that was funny.
So I just pulled out all the crap that I could. Skinks, Ceremonial Guard, and I think the Sky Raiders because they can zip about.
Yep, that makes sense, yep. I ran my deployment very, well, I'll say top-end heavy, with the Bone Dragon, then behind that is the Idol. Next down is the Horde of Chariots with the Priest behind them for that surge. The Pharaoh next to the Chariots, the Enslaved Guardians next in line. A little further down are the Guardian Archers and the troop of mummies hanging on the bottom end of the board.
Yeah, I just tried to go reactionary after those 4 drops, so just make sure I can get things into your big things or fly around them. That was it. Panic.
Because you didn't really have much of an
No,
option
that's
after
right.
deploying 4.
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, we'll run into the game now, I guess.
Yep.
I think we played this one correctly where you put the objective in the middle of the board.
It sounds like it.
Sounds like it.
Going
yeah.
through rules,
So if
that's what it sounds like.
If we've done it incorrectly, just put it in the comments and we'll play it properly next time.
So you can see in the picture that coin in the center, just behind those ruins, that's the objective point there.
So basically for Dominate, at the end of turn 6 or turn 5 in our case, you have to have units fully within 12 inches of the objective to get points. So that's how it works.
Right. Okay.
So let's move on to Salamander turn 1.
Yep. So winning the roll-off.
Oh, before you go,
Yeah.
I got to Vanguard.
Yes.
And my Scorpion.
It's hard to see in that image there because he's sitting behind the house. You might be able to see just a claw sticking out the back there.
Yeah.
There's the small shadow of the claw.
Sorry, in my deployment too, I forgot about the Scorpion because I don't think I took a proper deployment photo.
Yeah.
I missed that one. But anyway, the Scorpion's sitting behind the little hut.
And you'll see in my movement, my clan lord on Drake runs up to the house. That's because there's a Scorpion there.
Yeah, I got a bit too ambitious.
First turn charge.
Yeah.
That was just in as well, so I was pretty happy about that. I hate that Scorpion.
He's the bomb.
Always runs amok, so get rid of him. And I think my clan lord should be able to bust him up. He's got a bit of crushing strength and thunderous charge. Get the charge off and hopefully break it in one turn, but we'll see how that goes. And then Sky Raiders also got to fly up a bit, see if they can get in range of shooting. If not, get ready for the next turn. Rhinodons move up a little bit, don't want to get charged, so they sit back a bit. Skinks run behind that tower up the top of the screen there, just sitting behind the fence. Now, I didn't even think about your dragon charging it. I didn't think you were going for that. I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh, well, I wasn't initially either, but we'll get to that.
And everything else just moves up cautiously. Those skinks behind the Drake, in case I don't make it, I can try and shoot the rest of the Scorpion off.
Yep.
Or the Tyrants can charge it, maybe.
Yep.
But that was it for movement anyway. Magic wasn't really a thing. Banechant can't do anything at the moment, and Fireball's out of range, so my artillery piece shoots at the Enslaved Guardians and does 3 damage. That's all I can shoot. Pretty short range at the moment. And then combat. Fire Drake into the Scorpion. 6 hits, 5 damage, but I don't route it. It's there.
I'm glad you didn't rape him.
Didn't rape him. I just whacked him on the head a few times and backed off a little.
Yeah.
That's the end of my turn 1.
So moving to Empire of Dust turn 1. I didn't do a whole lot by the looks of things.
Next picture.
It must be the next picture.
There we go.
There we go. Alright. So the Pharaoh moves up a little. The Mounted Priest moves behind the Guardians. The Mummies pivot to sort of stop the Sky Raiders from coming in. At this point in time, I'm thinking that even if I charge the Scorpion into the Fire Drake, is that what he's called?
Yeah, that'll do.
And he survives, he's just going to fly over the top, charge my enslaved Guardian Archers, and they're in a bit of trouble. So I've sort of pivoted my Mummies around and my enslaved Guardians around to stop him from doing that, because I'm sure they should be able to survive at least one round of combat, even if they can't shoot the next turn from being disordered if they got hit about. Yeah. But
if your Scorpions survive, I think your Archers will have no problem.
Yeah. What did we do next? The Scorpion charges, so I just put that into play, hoping I could knock off a couple of damage. I think that's it. Yeah, that's all. Yep, all for my movement. Moving to shooting. Cursed High Priest heals the Enslaved Guardians for 2, so they're down to 1 damage at the moment. The Chariots shoot the Rhinodons. They do 7 hits.
4 Rhinodons.
5 damage. I didn't expect that out of them because they're being nimble makes it a bit different. I don't think they moved in the movement phase anyway, so it wasn't really a big deal. But hitting on 5s isn't too great. Anyway, the Enslaved Guardian Archers shoot at the Rhinodons as well. These guys are awesome. I take back everything I said about them previously. They're pretty good. Just a bit overpriced, I think. So they do 12 hits, 7 damage, and I rolled 11 for the nerve.
And I didn't have because I'm an idiot, I didn't keep my Heralds nearby, and I was a couple inches out for a reroll. I mean, it was a high roll, but you only needed like a 5
to
get rid of them anyway.
Yeah.
So, sad dander. Anyway, we live and move on.
Spoon thinks he's done something right for a change.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're moving to combat. The Scorpion fights the Fire Drake. 3 hits, 3 damage, and I roll 5 on the nerve, and that means his Fire Drake acts steady. The Bone Dragon hits the Geckotar Hunters for 6 hits, 5 damage, and I can't type. For nerve is normal. 6 for nerve, so they're way better.
Yeah. So you didn't roll very high.
No.
Because they've only got a waiver of 10, round of 12.
Yeah.
And a dragon couldn't beat them. That's pretty funny.
He's kind of good. He's just a bit squishy.
Well, it's just funny that you can't beat skinks.
Yeah, maybe it's just my dice rolling.
Yeah, probably. Anyway.
That brings us to Salamander turn 2.
Turn 2. Alright. What do? I have my Sky Raiders. They're going to move up and across a little bit. I want to try shoot some mummies. Drake moves out of the way of the Scorpion. Doesn't want to get charged again. And the Skinks move up instead. Sorry, the Gekkota. They move up instead. So do the Tyrants. They're just there to got your back, bro, kind of thing. And the Encaladon battle platform pivots and moves towards the Bone Dragon. Help out my little hunters up the top there. That's about it. Ceremonial Guard move up. Characters move up behind them to support them. Then we get into my currently favourite phase, the shooting. Sky Raiders throw their piddly little javelins, blowpipes, whatevers, at the mummies. 2 hits, but 2 damage. Winning. And the dragon, or the Drake, uses its breath weapon on the mummies. Breath 16 it's got. Hits 7 times, but only damages twice. Like damage 5 or something that you've got? Defense 5 on mummies?
Yeah.
We make a mistake here, but I'll go with it. Then the mummies rout because I rolled high.
Yeah, they got a route value. They got a route value of 14, so
yeah, and we forgot that he's got the neg 1 nerve
item. I can't remember what it's called.
But
I think it's Brew of Courage.
Yeah. but you would have held.
Yeah, I would have stayed there.
Had we remembered that.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Gecko shoot the Scorpion, hits 5 times, damages twice, and the Mage now in range shoots his Fireball, hits 6 times, damages twice, and the Scorpion routes. Now, one thing I forget, that character has Elite.
Yeah,
so when I roll my Fireballs, I can re-roll all the ones.
Yes.
And I'm forgetting all that. All the time.
This is just experience, I think. You
I'll
play
get
more
used to
games.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
The Komodo, he shoots the Guardians again, hits 4 times, damages twice, and the Lachelidon shoots the Idol 4 times and only damages once. But he's steady. No combat anymore because dudes are out of combat.
Ran away like a little girl.
Yeah. Which brings us to the Empire of Dust, turn 2.
Alright, so movement phase. This was stupid. I've played this game terribly. Quite terribly. The Bone Dragon charges what do you call him? Ankylodon?
You can call him an Anki.
Anki. I'll call him Anki because that's easier. Stupid dinosaur names. The Pharaoh... First of all, that dragon charge was really stupid. We discussed it after the game. I could have just flown behind and made a real mess of possibly ceremonials or...
Take out the artillery.
Yeah, take out the artillery. Either
whatever.
rather. Yeah. The Pharaoh charges the ceremonials. This one, I know they've got that Phalanx special rule, but because he's only got Thunderous Charge 1, he's still got Crushing Strength 2. I thought that wouldn't be too bad. The Chariots move up and pivot, and the Idol pivots and move sideways. The Guardians move up a little, and the Priest follows the Guardians. We then move into shooting and magic. So the Idol heals the Guardians for 2. The Priest surges the Chariots 6, and the Chariots then shoot the Lachelidon. I don't know how to... Lachelidon. 8 hits, 7 damage, and I rolled 10 on the nerve, which means he routes.
Boom.
Awesome. Have never done
that
anything...
was a good roll with the Chariots.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it because I still find the
Super
Chariots stupidly crap. That's probably the nice way of putting it. But anyway, keep going. The Enslaved Guardian Archers shoot at the Sky Raiders. 8 hits, 6 wounds, and I roll 3 for the nerve, so they act steady.
Which was lucky because they got a low route value.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing we forget. Oh no, it doesn't matter. That's not right. Anyway, moving to combat. The Pharaoh hits the ceremonials. 3 hits, 2 wounds. Rolled 9 for the nerve, but
you need a fair bit to make them run.
Knock them off. They're quite a decent unit. And the Bone Dragon hits the Anki. Hit him only once out of like 8 or 9 attacks, I think it is, and I don't freaking wound.
To be fair, he's got like defense 6.
But I got a dragon.
A dead dragon.
And he's Crushing Strength 3.
Yeah, I suppose.
When you only hit once.
But no, that certainly doesn't help.
No. Anyway, I think that's all for my turn, and then that brings us to Salamander turn 3.
Turn 3. Halfway or over halfway going by this game.
Yeah.
So what do we got? The Ankylodon battle platform charges the Bone Dragon. The Hunters charge the rear of the Bone Dragon to help out, which you can't see because it's behind the tower.
Yeah.
I wasn't too sure if I should do that or not, because he could counter-charge the Skinks, take them off and get rid of something. Sorry, the Gecko tar. But I thought maybe I should just plow everything in and go for it. Because even if he did counter-charge, then you've just taken out that thing and my Anki can go in again.
I should have just flown over the top in hindsight, but anyway.
The Sky Raiders and Drake, they fly up towards Spoon's deployment, lining up, shooting. Now I measured it so the Drake is just in with his breath, because I want that thing to burn those Guardian Bowmen. And burn he will. The Ceremonials counter-charge Pharaoh, because That's what they do.
Can. Yep.
And then that takes us to the shooting/magic phase. The Komodo shoots at the chariots, misses, just sneezed and shot all of its projectiles into the air and hit nothing.
It's like my archers normally.
Yeah. Sky Raiders shoot the enslaved Guardian archers, hits them thrice, only damages once, and I also cast Bane Chant from the mage onto the ceremonials, but I don't get it off. No. Yep. Going back to those Guardian archers, breath attack on them from a Drake, 11 hits, 6 damage, and then I'm going to break my amulet, use it again, 12 hits, 3 damage. So that's 9, 10 all up in that round for those archers.
Yeah, they're pretty ouchy at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling the pain.
Because that Scorpion's not there anymore, and my Gecko to move up a little, I've given them a choice to either hit the Guardians or the Guardian Archers, depending on
what happened.
Yeah. So they shoot the Guardian Archers also?
Yep.
No, they shoot the enslaved Guardians.
No, it must be the Archers, because they're no...
Either way, the enslaved Guardian Archers rout.
Yeah, I think it was the Guardian Archers. Yeah. I might have typed that up wrong, sorry.
Okie doke.
Because the Guardian Archers rout.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is a huge win for me. I was feeling a lot better about that. I hate those things. They're so good. Well, when you got the +1 item.
Yeah,
expensive but good.
Makes a big difference. I don't think I'd take them without that item, because hitting on fires for 250-ish points is just a wee bit too expensive. And
that brings us to combat. Ceremonial Guard don't do much against the Pharaoh. I hit him like half dozen times, but only damages him once.
He is defense 5.
Yeah. And my Bane Chant didn't go off.
Yeah, which... The other thing you kept forgetting was you have
Crushing
Strength 1 on all your dudes, unless noted. So another thing to remember.
My Ankylodon battle platform knocks the dragon about, hits him 6 times and damages him 5, because it's got a pretty good crushing strength. And then the little Gecko hunters up in the Jaxie of the Bone Dragon, 24 attacks, hooray! Hits a whole bunch and damages 8 times, and that makes it rout. Another win for me.
Taken out by freaking geckos.
Well, there's 24 attacks.
But it's geckos.
In the day.
Okay, my stupidity killed me there.
Yeah. That's all there was. No more combat. And that brings us to Engine of Dust, Empire of Dust, turn 3.
Alright, moving into turn 3. The Pharaoh charges the ceremonials. I didn't get any regen wounds back. The chariots pivot, move, and then pivot again because they got nimble. The idol moves up, the priest moves up, and the guardians move up slightly. When we move into the shooting and magic phase, so the Pharaoh surges the chariots into the ceremonials. The surge result was 6, and the idol heals the guardians for 1, and then the priest surges the idol for 4. And then we move into...
What were you doing with that idol?
Well, I was trying to protect the flank of my enslaved guardians, because I didn't want them and
flying into the side.
Yeah, flying into the side. That's going to be a lot of attacks. That was the idea. My idol didn't do much this game. He sort of just chased around stuff. Again, I played quite stupidly this game, but it is what it is. Moving to combat, the Pharaoh hits the ceremonials. He may as well not have even swung his weapon. 2 hits, 0 damage.
It's just there looking pretty. And
the chariots also hit the ceremonials. They do 11 hits, but because they've got the phalanx special rule, they only do 3 wounds. They lose their thunderous charge. I knew that going in there. I just thought the Pharaoh would do a bit more than what he did. And that was a pretty piss poor combat.
Very short turn, that one.
Yeah. Turns it over to Salamander turn 4.
Yep. So in response, the ceremonials charge the chariots.
That's one that I'd like a bit of an FAQ on, because you'll notice.
I think what we did here is because when you surge those chariots in on your turn,
Yeah.
I think the Pharaoh's supposed to move over so it's even between the two.
But doesn't he have to take the centermost point? I have to go to the... Because that's done in the charge phase, and the surge is done in the magic phase.
But does that not still affect it?
I don't know. That's what I need to.
Yeah.
That's what I need to know. Maybe we'll put something up on the Mantic forum.
I reckon.
I'll use
Clarify.
those two pictures.
Sure.
Anyway, keep going.
So we just played it that I charged the chariots because they were equidistant, and I just got to pick one because you can't charge two at the same time.
Yep.
And then the battle platform charges into the flank of the chariots.
He's a beast, that guy.
He's pretty good.
I reckon I'd almost give him man of the match for you.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He didn't move about, but he just smacked things up.
Yeah, he did well.
Wait for things to come to it.
Anyway.
Drake moves around, hide behind the house.
Yeah, because he's a girl.
Yeah, he is. He's good. And the Sky Raiders fly about. They're out of there. They don't need to do anything.
Yep.
I started thinking about the objective now and trying to make sure I can move guys to take the spot in the centre. That's all I did for movement, really. Yeah. Magic. Enchant on the ceremonials. Hooray! Goes off. And breath attack from the Drake on the Guardians hits 10 times and damages 4.
I'm assuming it was him. I don't think it was your mage. Where's your mage in that picture?
No, he's too far back. He was behind the Tyrants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
And then that brings us to combat. The ceremonials hit the chariots 9 times and damage 4, which is okay, I guess. I think could have done a lot better, but anyway. And then the Ankylodon, 10 hits, 9 damage. Oh yeah. Chariots are out.
That's because you got to remember you doubled your attacks in the...
Yeah, 20 attacks.
Yeah, 20 attacks. Ouchies.
Crushing strength 4.
Okay.
Pretty good.
So the chariots are out. That's really... I think that's the end for chariots for me, unless I take small units. But we'll get onto that later.
Yeah.
Is that the end of combat for you?
That is.
Oh, so we move on to Empire of Dust turn 4. So at this point I am worrying quite a lot because there's not a lot left on the board, as you can see. What did I do? Alright, so the priest moves towards the skinks, the guardians move towards the centre, and the idol pivots and moves. Then we move into magic and shooting. The idol heals the guardians for 1. The priest casts surge on the guardians with the casket of the damned item, so they get a total of 8 surge from 15. And the pharaoh surges the guardians for 3. So I didn't quite make combat. I was going for a very big run, so you'll notice how far away. Oh, maybe you won't. They did move quite a big distance. I think we missed
like
a photo.
Quarter of the board.
Yeah. In that turn. And then we move to combat. The pharaoh hits the ceremonials, does 3 hits, 1 wound, and a roll double 1 for nerve. It's just been a clusterfuck, this game. Anyway.
Like, whenever the pharaoh attacks, I feel like the Seinfeld music should be playing in the background.
He's been alright up until this game. It's funny though, in every other game he's fought reasonably well. This one he was absolutely pants. Anyway, that brings us to Salamander turn 5.
Yeah. Right, so ceremonials charge the pharaoh because that's all there's left. And then I'm also thinking that it's turn 6 when it's actually 5. I got to get rid of those guardians, otherwise they're getting points. So I throw my battle platform and geckos into
the
enslaved guardians.
Yeah.
Maybe if I get lucky, I can route them. The Sky Raiders jump into the center. So does the Drake. Characters move up, so they're in range, and the Titans and geckos. So everything's in range except for my Ankylodon and geckos right up the top, as well as that artillery piece. But I wasn't thinking about that when I should have, but not to worry. And then it's just about bolstering my units and making sure I survive or take something out. So Bane Chant on the Ceremonial Guard, try and get rid of the Pharaoh. And the Geckos shoot at the Idol, 2 hits, no damage. I don't know what I was doing there, just why not?
Oh, you failed the Bane Chant too.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I failed the Bane Chant, there you go.
Yeah. Maybe the Geckos didn't charge the Enslaved Guardians. Maybe they were just going in for points, because I don't have any notes on
No, the ones up the top.
these ones.
Yep, into the Guardians.
Ceremonials.
Because I get extra attacks on your flank. I think maybe that might be able to do it.
Ah, okay.
You
maybe I didn't.
You didn't write it down.
Maybe I didn't write it down, but okay, we'll just go with it.
it.
Obviously, they acted steady. But anyway, go through the combat.
Yes, Ceremonials hit the Pharaoh 9 times, damage 3 times, and can't do anything with him, just steady there. And the Kylidon hits the Guardian 7 times, 4 damage, and they act steady also.
Yeah, I don't know what the Geckos did, but they mustn't have done much if...
You haven't got that written down either?
I don't think so.
No. Oh well.
But they, obviously, the Guardians stay around.
You've got, like, high route value on those things, 4
think
damage, and maybe a couple from the Geckos that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I think it's 17 for their nerve.
So it would have
for
had
the
to
route
roll
value.
really lucky.
Yeah. And there was a couple of inspiring characters hanging around.
Yeah.
So. And that brings us to Empire of Dust, turn 5. So the movement phase, the Guardians change facing, and do a 180 spin. The Pharaoh charges the Ceremonials again. The Idol moves and pivots, and he's hoping. This was my super play for the game, but just failed. And the priest moves towards the Idol. So if you put 2 and 2 together, you know what's going to happen next. Shooting and magic. The Pharaoh surges the Guardians into the Sky Raiders. He rolls 5 for his surge. He only needed like a 1 or a 2 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And the priest surges the Idol 4. I think he needed a 7 or something. I think from memory, maybe it was a bit less. Maybe only 6. Might be 7. Looks about 3 inches roughly. But doesn't quite make the charge into the flank of the Tyrants, are they?
Yes.
Into the Tyrants, which was sad.
And also happy at the same time.
Because I would have liked 20 attacks into the side of those bad boys with Crushing Strength 4. Yeah. We move into combat, and the Guardians hit the Sky Raiders 15 times, 10 wounds, and they rout. And the Pharaoh again hits the Ceremonials. Can you guess how many hits? 3. 3 damage. And
which is more than what he's done before, isn't it?
Yeah, but he still hasn't hit more than 3 times all game.
Yeah.
And they act normal. And that is game. Well,
there should have been a 6, but we got...
Yeah.
I've written down the wrong turn number.
Yeah.
It felt like a turn 6.
Yeah. Look, I'm sure if we both had known it was only turn 5, we probably would have played that a wee bit differently.
Yeah.
The last turn, but anyway, we'll run through scores. So I scored 1,010 points within 12 inches of the objective,
and I had 960.
so it wasn't over the 200 point mark, so it ended up being a draw, even though I played like an absolute pig.
And I think I did okay.
Yeah, I think you played quite intelligently. I just played terribly.
Yeah. Now, I won't go through things you would have changed, because there would have been a lot of things that you would have changed.
Yeah.
And we kind of went through it. Like, I think that Bone Dragon was probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, that was, we went through it in the game notes anyway, and after our game. So I'll play that differently next time I play him.
But otherwise, I thought it was a good game.
Yeah, it was a good game.
Nice scenario.
Yeah, I'm not minding the scenario so far.
Yeah, so far so good. Makes you think a bit more.
Yeah. Anything else you want to
add? MVP.
For me, I would say my Enslaved Guardian Archers. Because if they didn't take out those Rhinodons, it was all over. Because I couldn't roll to save myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did so many stupid things in this game.
But if they hadn't taken out the Rhinodons, and you wanted to put in your sneaky plan of flying over the back of them with the dragon and then surging to the arse end of them,
Yeah,
that could have happened,
yeah,
and that
could
could have
have.
changed the game a bit because
Yeah.
your Bone Dragon wouldn't have
Did what he did.
did what he did.
Yeah, stupid idiot. I think that's about it. What about you?
Toss up between the battle platform or the Fire Drake, because I thought having a flying character that can burn everything is pretty cool.
Yeah, he was pretty potent. I'd even say, like, not that your ceremonials did much, but they held
They
up.
helped. They did their job.
Yeah, they held up my Pharaoh for pretty much 3 turns.
Tyrants didn't do jack.
Yeah, I think that because we played that
was a
center ruin as impassable, that didn't do a lot. But maybe it was just the threat value. Like when I had my enslaved guardians, they were getting blocked by your Gecko hunters. I was worried that if I just charged the Gecko Tars, you'd just
Smash him back.
smash me back.
Yeah.
So, in a way, I think they still played a part, even if they didn't actually
Do much physically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. Anyway, good game.
Yeah, I think that's it.
We'll leave that for now. Thanks for listening / watching, whatever.
See you next time.
See ya.